नमस्कार दोस्तों. So today we are going to talk about UPSC Preliminary Examination 2025 syllabus. Okay, so before starting the class, I just wanted to tell you that this video is only for English medium student. Okay, not for Hindi medium student. Okay, if you understand English, then you can also watch this video. Okay, but if you are not understanding, not getting my point, not getting my words, then you go and visit my channel. There I have made a separate video for Hindi medium student on this same topic. Okay, so let's talk about today's video. As you all know that when we prepare for UPSC preliminary examination and download the syllabus from the official website of UPSC, then in the syllabus of preliminary examination you will see that you have to prepare for many subjects like history, geography, economy, science and technology, environment and polity. Okay, but in this video I will only talk about polity subject, which we call Indian Polity, and in Hindi we call it Bharat ki Rajya Vyavastha. Okay, now maybe you are thinking that why here I am telling you people about only for Indian Polity syllabus, because in UPSC CSE prelims we have so many subjects, right? So let me tell you the things that in my previous videos I had told you people that I will again make video lectures of UPSC on this channel, right? That is why I thought that why not I start with polity subject, and since I am going to teach polity subjects right now, that is why I am talking only about polity subjects syllabus right now. When I start teaching history or other subjects, then at that time I will also tell you their syllabus first. Okay, so as you can see here that I have written only the line of polity subjects from the syllabus of UPSC preliminary examination. You get to see this line in the syllabus of UPSC preliminary examination. Since I am going to talk only about Indian polity subjects here, so I have written only that line from the syllabus here, which tells us about Indian polity. Okay, as you can see here in the syllabus of UPSC preliminary examination, some such things are written for Indian polity. It is written Indian polity and governance, in which there are 5 to 6 topics, in which the first topic is our constitution, the second topic is our political system, the third topic is our Panchayati Raj, the fourth topic is our public policy, and the last topic is rights issues. And apart from this, there are many more things. Okay, friends, I have tried to show all these topics here in the form of a flowchart for you. As you can see here, I have written Indian polity and governance. After that, within this, we have the first topic constitution. The second topic is political system. The third topic is Panchayati Raj. The fourth topic is public policy, and the fifth topic is rights issues. Okay. So first of all, let's talk about from which book I have written these chapters, or which is the best book to study Indian polity. So as you all know, M. Lakshmikant sir's book is considered the best for studying Indian polity, especially for UPSC, because his book is prepared keeping in mind the syllabus of UPSC preliminary examination and polity paper GS2 of mains examination, right? So basically here I have divided all the chapters of M. Lakshmikant sir's book into these topics. Okay. D.D. Basu sir's book is also a very good book to prepare for UPSC polity subject. His book helps us to study the topic in depth, but in D.D. Basu sir's book, we do not get all the topic of UPSC syllabus, and it is better for mains than pre, because the topic given in it are explained very well in depth. According to me, while preparing for UPSC preliminary examination, you should also read M. Lakshmikant sir's book and D.D. Basu sir's book, but your first priority should be to read M. Lakshmikant sir's book completely, and along with that you can use D.D. Basu sir's book to understand some topics very well and deeply, which will help you a lot in answer writing in mains. Because friends, whenever we prepare for UPSC preliminary examination, our preparation should be according to mains exam. Okay, but our focus at this time should be on pre. Okay, apart from this, friends, to know about various schemes of the government, you can follow the official website of the government, such as pib.gov.in. Okay, you can read these things by going there. Also, for current affairs, you can read either the Hindu newspaper or Indian Express newspaper. you will keep getting knowledge of current affairs from this newspaper, which is very important from the point of view of UPSC preliminary examination. Friends, you should prepare polity from NCERT textbooks first. NCERT polity books from class 6 to 10th will give you basic information. Okay, you can read them only twice, but you should read class 11th and 12th books thoroughly because it is very important for pre and mains. According to me, you should read NCERT book from class 9th to 12th thoroughly. Friends, you have to read NCERT books so that your base can be strong on these subjects, and when you go to read a standard textbooks, you will understand things there very easily. So friends, let us look at each topic of the syllabus of polity subject of UPSC preliminary examination one by one to see which chapters should we read in them. Okay. So first of all, it is written here Indian Polity and Governance, which in Hindi we call Bharatiya Rajya Tantra or Shashan. The first topic inside this is Constitution. Friends, under which we have to read things from chapter 1 to chapter 12 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book. As you can see here, that I have written the names from chapter 1 to chapter 12. Chapter 1 tells us about the historical background. Chapter 2 tells us about making of the constitution. Chapter 3 tells us about the concept of the constitution. Chapter 4 tells us about silent feature of the constitution. Chapter 5 tells us about preamble of the constitution. Chapter 6 tells us about union and its territory. Chapter 7 tells us about citizenship. Chapter 8 tells us about fundamental rights. Chapter 9 tells us about directive principle of state policy. Chapter 10 tells us about fundamental duties. Chapter 11 tells us about amendments of the constitution. Chapter 12 tells us about basic structure of the constitution. Okay. Apart from this, friends, under the constitution topic, I have also included part 11 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book, which tells us about the working of the constitution, which is chapter number 89, in which it is written National Commission to review the working of the constitution. Along with this, I have included another part in it because it is also related to the constitution, which is part number 13, that is comparison of the constitution, in which we get to see chapter number 92, which tells us how our constitution is different from the constitution of different countries. After this, friends, the second topic in our syllabus is political system. So under political system, I have included some important parts of M. Lakshmikant sir's book, in which we get to see the first topic system of government, the second topic central government, the third topic state government, the fourth topic local government, the fifth topic union territories and special areas. After that, I have also added the sixth topic political dynamics. Along with that, I have also added the seventh topic judgment and doctrines. In M. Lakshmikant sir's book, these are part 2, part 3, part 4, part 5, part 6, part 10 and part 12 respectively. Okay. Under the political system, we have kept these parts. Now we will see each parts one by one. Okay. Which chapters are given in them. So as you can see here, friends, the first point under the political system topic is system of government, which you will find in part 2 in M. Lakshmikant sir's book. In this, we get to see 5 chapters. Chapter number 13, which tells us about the parliamentary system. Chapter number 14, which tells us about the federal system. Chapter number 15, which tells us about the center-state relations. After that, friends, chapter number 16 tells us about interstate relations. Chapter number 17 tells us about emergency provisions. So these are 5 chapters from chapter number 13 to chapter number 17 will be seen under the system of government. Okay. After this, the second topic we have written here is central government. Okay, which is part 3 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book, which we have kept under political system topic. Okay. In this part, we get to see chapters from chapter number 18 to chapter number 29. Chapter number 18 tells us about the president. Chapter number 19 tells us about the vice president. Chapter number 20 tells us about the prime minister. Chapter number 21 tells us about the central council of ministers. Chapter number 22 tells us about the cabinet committee. Chapter number 23 tells us about the parliament. Chapter number 24 tells us about the parliamentary committee. Chapter number 25 tells us about the Indian Parliament. Chapter number 26 tells us about the Supreme Court. Chapter number 27 tells us about the judicial review. Chapter number 28 tells us about judicial activism. Chapter number 29 tells us about public interest litigations. After this, friends, our next topic under political system is state government, which you will find in part 4 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book. Okay, in these parts there are so many chapters. Chapters from chapter number 30 to chapter number 38 have been included under this. Okay, chapter number 30 tells us about the governor. Chapter number 31 tells us about the chief minister. Chapter number 32 tells us about the state council of ministers. Chapter number 33 tells us about the state legislature. Chapter number 34 tells us about the High Court. Chapter number 35 tells us about the subordinate courts. Chapter number 36 tells us about the tribunals. Chapter number 37 tells us about the Consumer Commission. Chapter number 38 tells us about Lok Adalat and courts. Friends, the fourth point we have kept under the topic political system is local government, which you get to see in part 5 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book. There are two chapters in it, chapter number 39 and chapter number 40. Chapter number 39 tells us about Panchayati Raj. Chapter number 40 tells us about municipalities. After this, friends, our next topic under the political system is union territories and special areas, which we find in part 6 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book. Under this also we find two chapters, chapter number 41 and chapter number 42. Chapter number 41 tell us about union territories and chapter number 42 tell us about schedule and tribal areas. After this, the next topic which we have kept under the political system is political dynamics, which you get to see in part 10 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book, in which chapter from chapter number 78 to chapter number 88 are given. Okay. Chapter number 78 tells us about political parties. Chapter number 79 tells us about the role of regional parties. Chapter number 80 tells us about elections. Chapter number 81 tells us about elections law. Chapter number 82 tells us about electoral reforms. Chapter number 83 tells us about voting behavior. Chapter number 84 tells us about coalition government. Chapter number 85 tells us about anti-defection law. Chapter number 86 tells us about pressure groups. Chapter number 87 tells us about national integrations. Chapter number 88 tells us about foreign policy. After this, under the political system, we have kept another topic named judgment and doctrines, which you will find in part 12 in M. Lakshmikant sir's book. Under this part, also we get to see two chapters, chapter number 90 and chapter number 91. Under chapter number 90, we get to see landmark judgment and their impact. Under chapter number 91, we get to see important doctrines of constitutional interpretation. So friends, these are total 7 parts which we have kept under the political system. Okay. After this, the next topic is Panchayati Raj, which is the next topic in our syllabus. So friends, there is a separate chapter on Panchayati Raj in M. Lakshmikant sir's book. The fourth topic we have kept under the political system is local government, which you will find in part 5 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book. There are two chapters in it, chapter number 39 and chapter number 40. Chapter number 39 in it tells us about Panchayati Raj. The next topic in the syllabus is public policy. I have included part 7, part 8 and part 9 of M. Lakshmikant sir's book under this topic. So if I talk about part 7, friends, then you can see things from chapter number 43 to chapter number 55 in it. Part 7 tells us about the constitutional bodies. Friends, among the chapters in it, chapter number 43 tells us about the Election Commission. Chapter number 44 tells about the Union Public Service Commission. Chapter number 45 tells about the State Public Service Commission. Chapter number 46 tells about the Finance Commission. Chapter number 47 tells about the Goods and Service Tax Council. Chapter number 48 tells about the National Commission for SCs. Chapter number 49 tells about the National Commission for STs. Chapter number 50 tells about the National Commission for BCs. Chapter number 51 tells about Special Officer for Linguistic Minority. Chapter number 52 tells about the Comptroller and Auditor General of India. Chapter number 53 tells about the Attorney General of India. Chapter number 54 tells about the Advocate General of State. Chapter number 55 tells us about the constitutional prescriptions. So friends, in this way part 7 ends from chapter number 43 to chapter number 55. After that comes part 8, which we have also kept under public policy. Under part 8, we get to see things from chapter number 56 to chapter number 71. Part 8 tells us non-constitutional bodies, in which chapter number 56 gives us information about Niti Aayog. Chapter number 57 tells us about National Human Rights Commission. Chapter number 58 tells us about State Human Rights Commission. Chapter number 59 tells us about National Commission for Women. Chapter number 60 tells us about National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Chapter number 61 tells us about National Commission for Minorities. Chapter number 62 tells us Central Information Commission. Chapter number 63 tells us about State Information Commission. Chapter number 64 tells us about the Central Vigilance Commission. Chapter number 65 tells us about the Central Bureau of Investigation. Chapter number 66 tells us about the Lokpal and Lokayukts. Chapter number 67 tells us about the National Investigation Agency. Chapter number 68 tells us about National Disaster Management Authority. Chapter number 69 tells us about Bar Council of India. Chapter number 70 tells us about Law Commission of India. Chapter number 71 tells us about Delimitation Commission of India. In this way friends, we see that our part 8 starts from chapter 56 and ends at chapter 71. After this, the next part under public policy is part 9, under which we get to see chapters from chapter 70 to chapter 77. Part 9 tells us about other constitutional dimensions, in which chapter number 72 tells us about cooperative societies. Chapter number 73 tells us about official language. Chapter number 74 tells us about public services. Chapter number 75 tells us about rights and liabilities of the government. Chapter number 76 tells us about special provisions relating to certain classes. And chapter number 77 tells us about special provisions for some states. All these parts, which are part number 7, part number 8 and part number 9, I have kept them under public policy because in this we get to see Niti Aayog and things like Finance Commission. In this way, we get to see many constitutional and non-constitutional body in it, which work to make public policy in some way or the other. After this, our last topic of the syllabus is rights and issues. So under this, you can see here that chapter number 8 and part number 8 are written here. All those topics comes under this topic, which tells us about our rights in some way or the other. Like if we see chapter number 8, then chapter number 8 tells us about fundamental rights, right? There are some chapters of part 8 which tells us about the National Human Rights Commission, which is chapter number 57, and chapter number 58 tells us about the State Human Rights Commission. Similarly, chapter number 60 tells us about the National Commission for Protection of Child Rights. Chapter number 61 tells about the National Commission for Minorities. So in this you can include part 8 of Lakshmikant sir's book. So in this way friends, when you read all these topics, then overall you have to read the entire book of Lakshmikant sir's, because it includes all the parts and chapters of Lakshmikant sir's book. Many people says that it is not necessary to read all the chapters for prelims, but I would say that you should read all the chapters because the question can come from anywhere firstly, and secondly, by skipping one or two chapters you will not be able to save that much time. And when you are studying and preparing for the exam, then you should read all the chapters, because I don't think that whatever content is given in this book will be any useless content, because this book has very good and authentic content which you should read again and again. And don't keep crying that this is such a thick book, how will we study it, what will we do? When I teach 11th and 12th class students, they read much thicker books than you, and you start thinking about how to find a shortcut, which things to skip, which things to read. Wait, I will show you their book. See, this is a chemistry book of class 11th. You can see how thick it is. In comparison to this, look at this book, Indian Polity. It is so thin. and this chemistry book they read 3 books like this. So it is not that they are not studying, they also read. School children read thicker books than you, but you are preparing for government examination and you think how much should I read and what should I read in it. Don't cry about it. So friends, this was our syllabus of Indian polity subjects for UPSC preliminary examination, in which we saw which chapters we will study under which topics. If we talk about overall, then for this syllabus we have to read the complete Indian polity book by M. Lakshmikant sir. So friends, let's meet in the second video of Indian polity. Stay tuned. Bye bye.